Good morning to those of you in North America. Good afternoon, good evening to everybody who's kind of further east. I'm sorry to rub it in people in Kenyan that we're all closer to Friday afternoon cocktails than the rest of you. Um,
But it is Friday for everybody.
it kind of is Friday for everybody, yeah. Kevin, ever the conciliatory, kind of generous one. Um, I'm associate professor at the American University of Paris. I'm here with Kevin. Kevin, do you want to just say who you are?
So, Kevin Fore, I'm the Dean of Student Development at the American University of Paris.
So we're really pleased to be here. Really pleased to kind of see some familiar faces and some new faces as well. We want to do something a little bit different today. Although what we want to do is certainly impacts on what works in terms of teaching and learning. I think what we wanted to present kind of actually takes a slightly different tack, and we wanted to think about what we do kind of around the classroom in a way that impacts students teaching and learning, certainly, but also kind of engages faculty and staff in perhaps a different way. And we're also presenting very much a work in progress. We're talking about a scheme called First Year Success, which, as its name suggests, is targeted, aimed at incoming first year students at our institution. But this is a project that we're gearing up for the second year of pilot. So initially, we're going to talk a little bit about the kind of the specific kind of challenges facing this program at the American University of Paris. Then we'll talk a little bit about the program, the aims, the structure, what we've done. If we have time, we can think a little bit about, okay, well, what we've learned from the process. And we're going to finish with kind of a request, a call for your help, really, because I think there's a number of ways that you can help us perhaps kind of as we move this project forward. So we put our email addresses up there at the front. Please note them. We'll put them on the slide again at the end because this is a start of a dialogue in many ways, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think to help get the conversation started, it's important to have just a little bit of knowledge about who we are as an institution. We are so the American University of Paris, based in France. We're an American university, but not entirely. We're in France, but we're not entirely French. And our student body is from all over the world as well. So we have anywhere between 1,100 to 1,300 students per semester. The figures I have here on the screen are based on the spring 24 semester. We have a small graduate population, mostly undergraduate. Our students are from around the world, and so the latest count was 110 nationalities this past semester. They speak on average 50 to 60 languages per semester. English is our common language. Most of our students are bilingual at least. Many of them speak 3 languages. That's not necessarily French and English. It can be English and just a whole range of other languages. And then we have about 171 professors, full-time, part-time, and our professors and staff and faculty are also from many different cultures and speak many different languages. So we are a very diverse population, and that comes with a set of challenges. One of them in particular is fairly new for us, which is we are based in Paris. We're a very urban campus, and so we have begun housing our first-year students in particular. So it's a requirement for first-year students to be housed by us. This isn't something we did about 10 years ago. When I started working at the university, students would come at orientation, and we would serve as a middleman to pair them up with landlords in Paris. Now we are running our own housing accommodations, and we're considering that part of the education that we're providing to our students and part of the support structure. So some of the challenges linked to onboarding students and helping them to have a first year that is successful. I think that ties back to this question of helping them to get from the first year to their second year, this question of retention. And so the first year success program that we're going to talk to you about today is very much focused on that question of retention. We have, and for many years have had a first year experience program called First Bridge. designed specifically for first-year degree-seeking students, very much in the academic space. So these are co-curricular courses that are taught. And student life, my office has stepped into that space over the years, but we've never really figured out a way to have good cross collaboration in that space. And so first year success is taking us into a different territory to explore how we can perhaps have better cross collaboration around the university. Another challenge for us is that we have students coming from lots of different cohorts. We have first year abroad. They're here for just one semester or 1 year, and then they go to another homeschool. So how do our students find their space in this very diverse international community? Add to that the fact that our campus is a bit of a bubble. We provide an English language kind of bubble space for all of the students to come and feel at home on campus, but they're also living out in the city. And so how do we build those bridges? And finally, I think students are reconnecting, coming back to campus, getting engaged in projects, but there still is a bit of this post-COVID uncertainty of how to actually be present, how to attend events, how do we get the information out to them in a way that they'd want to participate in a program like this? Those are some of the challenges, yeah.
Yeah, so our first year success kind of program is basically based around 4 goals or learning outcomes. One of those is to help students get settled in Paris. Paris is not always an easy place to live. It's not always an easy place to stay. So our aim is to help students get settled as part of a community, help them find their tribe, help them find friends, help them find a network that will help them flourish and stay. Help them navigate cultures. So that not only includes the culture living in France, not only includes the cultures of the people they're encountering in the AUP community, that also kind of takes into account the culture of the AUP community, the community itself. It's also strives to help students find a degree of balance between academics and their own personal well-being. Now, this is something that I'm sure is kind of observed across institutions in this particular moment in history. There is a fixation, or there is a need rather, for wellness activities, and we're starting to understand the extent to which this really goes hand in hand with students' academic success as well. So it's the matter of kind of, managing time, managing kind of academics, and as well as looking after yourself. It's also key that dialogue is an important part of what we do. This part of living and working and studying together is the importance of dialogue, is the importance of recognizing people who are the same as you and people who aren't the same as you, and working and negotiating and living in a diverse community. And also the consent issue as well is something that kind of really kind of feels part of our mission. And all of this is kind of mixed in with the idea of creating a kind of a real sense of kind of class identity and class spirit at AUP. Now, I spent a lot of time thinking about this diagram, which in many ways is the real interesting innovation at the heart of the first year success program. Now, I've described it previously as a triangle, and in a meeting last week, somebody told me it's not a triangle, it's a pyramid. I don't know if it's a triangle or a pyramid. I realized today that it's a pyramid viewed from the top, so it looks like a triangle. Whatever, we have the first year student at the very heart of this advising pyramid. Now, the academic advisor is somebody who a role that has existed for very many years, and of course it exists in very many institutions. That's one point of support. AUP has, for the last 15 at least years, had a very successful student advisor program. But what we wanted to do is bolster that, and we created a new position. We created a new position of the first year mentor. We've actually just finished recruitment for mentors for the next fall, and this is a call that goes out to all faculty and staff at AUP. And the first year mentor position is somebody who works with the student advisor, with the academic advisor, in order to provide another point of support for our students. And this person could be anybody at this institution, could be anybody at AUP. We're calling on the collective wisdom of this institution. It could be anybody from the staff or faculty community, with the idea being that there's somebody who has likely moved to France. There's somebody who has likely been at AUP for a little while, is used to living in Paris, is used to navigating the AUP community, is used to getting involved in things outside of the AUP bubble, is also used to navigating the AUP bubble. And I think it's a different kind of support, it's a different kind of advising from what the student advisor can provide, and also to complement what the academic advisor is doing.
And this idea of the pyramid is a reminder that much of the work that we're doing with students is happening in different spaces across campus. So you have, of course, learning that's happening in the classroom. You have learning that's happening with our first bridge professors. You have learning that's happening with the peer advisors, from peers to other students. One of the, I think, the strengths of this program that we're working on together with Russell, First Year Success, is that we're trying to break down those silos and to present a structure for students where this learning comes together across all of those different spaces. We've developed a series of workshops, which will be launched. We tested many of them last fall. We will relaunch them this fall, coming up with some tweaks. The topics range from, and I'll just run through this very quickly. At home at AUP is about helping them to get settled in Paris, feeling at home not only in Paris, which for many of them is a new city, but also in their new residences and on campus. So navigating what it is to be at a liberal arts university. Time management, that comes fairly quickly. This is a session where we would have the first year success mentors. So these are staff or faculty members, do one-on-one sessions with the students to make sure that they're actually managing their time well, feeling in control of their schedules, because we know that they enter with a tremendous amount of freedom, and they can get lost in that freedom in the first weeks, the first months of the semester. We're working with our diversity council to develop a session specifically dedicated to diversity at AUP. We're also doing things a little bit different. We have a tradition at AUP called World's Fair. This is something that's gone on for many years, where we bring students from different nationalities together. They set up tables and they celebrate with food from their different countries and costumes and music. We're integrating that tradition into First Year Success in order to make it a little bit more interactive and to build in some of these traditions into the program so that we can get perhaps a wider audience paying attention to it, and in particular, our first year students paying attention to those traditions. Designing Your AUP is a program that is in collaboration with our Career and Experiential Learning Office. That would be done with academic advisors, helping students to think about the many different resources at the university and how they can start taking advantage of those as of their first semester. And we tested in the fall wellness fair with the first year degree seeking students. That worked really well. We know that puppies are one of the key elements to success for this program. You get a large crowd when you offer puppies, but more importantly, this idea of checking in with students at a critical moment in the semester. Right now, we have it scheduled a bit ahead of final exams to make sure that they're taking care of themselves. This is an opportunity to connect with guidance counselors. We bring in people to do massages. We'll give them little goodie bags, but also opportunities for them to talk to different staff and faculty members to make sure that they're feeling okay about heading into the last part of the semester. So it's a mix of sit-down sessions with conversations, of one-on-one sessions to talk about how they're doing, individually, and big open events where we bring the entire class together to celebrate our diversity and just to make sure we're taking care of each other.
Yeah. Just very quickly, I think it's important to stress here that the lead for this is taken by our student advisors and our first year mentors. And in creating this space, it's a kind of non-academic co-curricular space that we can then invite faculty into. And I think that's one of our big challenges for the next academic year, is actually getting faculty members as active in this space as staff are.
Yeah, exactly. We have a very good committee, half staff, half faculty working on all of this content. And as Russell said, the next step is to open that wider so more faculty feel like they can participate if they'd like to. We'll kick things off, and we did this last year as well. It's the first time we have a robust orientation program, but we had never actually designed one specific day for the degree seeking students. We kind of mixed in all of our students, transfer students, graduate students, first year abroad visiting, to have a similar first week of orientation. We added in a day specifically for first year degree seeking, and we'll do that again this year. We're going to make it more interactive. That's one of the lessons learned from last year, was that it wasn't interactive enough. We had too many people up on stage talking to the students and not getting the students to engage in games or to participate in other ways. So we'll include, for example, this year a scavenger hunt to a local castle, a French castle near the venue where we're going to do the retreat. We'll include some topics that we think are important to touch on early on. We'll have a session on sex, safety, and consent, because we know once they get to Paris, they're interested in getting out and discovering the city and going out dancing and drinking. They have the right to do that as of the age of 18 in France. And so we'll include some important topics during that first day of retreat, but also some fun things and an introduction to what first year success is all about.
And this is, this kind of spirit is something that we continue kind of throughout the semester, because as important as it is to kind of build the community on campus, we feel that it's also important that we kind of get some kind of reflective distance. There's been a lot over these last kind of panels about the importance of taking time to really think about what you've just been doing. So we do like to give opportunities to take the entire first year away. What we did last semester, we did a couple of trips. We took a cohort up to Bayeux in Normandy. We also did something in the spring semester when we took a cohort down to the Loire Valley. And this isn't only the opportunity to eat good food, to explore. This is also the opportunity for us to kind of meet in small groups, to discuss how the year's going, discuss where the particular points of anxiety are, discuss what's going well, what's not going well from a student perspective. And we had some, we had a good laugh. It was an opportunity for students to kind of make friends that they don't normally see, but also an opportunity to kind of reflect and learn. I'm going to move quickly because I'm conscious of time, and I want to get to our final slide where we kind of put the questions out there as well. So what have we learned so far? Well, these workshops aren't mandatory. There isn't any credit for them at present. So we've had to be really kind of canny in the way that they're being scheduled and the time that they're being scheduled, and how we're kind of really demonstrating the use that there is. And there's also a PR and communication kind of challenge as well, to make sure all of our key stakeholder audiences, so staff and faculty and students, even to parents, to let them know about our initiatives, to kind of get the students kind of involved. Equally, there's a lot of training that it needs that needs to be carried out for student advisors and mentors, for them to understand exactly the hands-on role that we want them to play in this success program. Point 3, I've mentioned the communication battle. And I think we've been really lucky that we've had a lot of positive contribution from kind of students, from staff in this. And I think, the more that we can invite staff in, the more that we can invite academics into the space, it is only going to make it stronger as we move forward. We also know that we've got a heck of a lot, much more to learn about this program as we enter its second year. We did have some evaluation kind of slides we wanted to share, but Kevin, maybe we could jump into the kind of final slide here.
I'll just say one word about the evaluation. We baked in assessment from the very beginning of the program. We did a whole series of surveys that we went out to students. We did logs for the student advisors. We had meetings with the focus groups with the mentors, focus groups with student advisors. We paid attention to attendance. And so, we see that there's real potential for the program, that overall there's interest in carrying it on, that the strength is with the student advisors and with the staff advisors. and that we can then leverage that to really improve on it into next year. And then in terms of, we wanted to kind of conclude, we thought this would be an opportunity to, open the floor now or through email later to hear about programs that you're doing at your home schools. Many of you are probably engaged or aware of first year experience programs. This is not something that we're not reinventing the wheel here. There's some specific parameters for who we are as an institution, but I think we have a lot to learn from other institutions, and we're very much interested in hearing from you. We put a few questions here on the slide, but I'm sure that there are other things that may come to mind for you. How does this help us with retention? What are the activities that we should be programming for our first year students? Our students aren't so different from yours when it comes to the needs that they have and some of the struggles that they're challenged with right now.